الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. معاكم موفى علي. هنحاول ان شاء الله ان احنا نتكلم او نعلق على الويبينار او البرودكاست اللي عمله ال IIA Institute of Internal Audit. كان متزامن مع المحاضرة يعني اللي احنا بدأناها في تقريبا يوم الاربع، فما قدرناش ان احنا نحضره. كنا يعني كل شويه يبعتوا لي ايميلات عليه، فان شاء الله نحاول دلوقتي نشوف التسجيل بتاعه ونحاول يعني ايه نعلق عليه او نترجم يعني، او المهم نفهم. هو بيتكلموا على السيستم الجديد، بيقول لك ازاي تذاكر، ازاي تحصل على CIA. تعال نقول بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ونتابع البرودكاست اللي هم ما هو مجاني يعني، هم دعونا اليه. مش عارفين بقى ننفعه على اليوتيوب ولا لا، بقى الله المستعان. تعالى نشوف. المهم نستفيد يعني، والناس تستفيد من المحتوى بتاعه.
Hello ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's webinar, Increase Your Chances of Passing the CIA Exam. My name is Miguel Ramos and I will be your host for today's session. Today we are honored to have three presenters who will share with you their journey, their industry knowledge and expertise to assist you with your CIA certification journey. First to present will be Matt McDaniel, Manager of Global Certifications Communications here at the IIA, followed by Vicki McIntyre, President of First Plus Resolutions, Inc., and also one of our IIA CIA Learning Systems instructors. And last but not least, Kelly Quinn, Vice President of the IIA Strategic Partnership for the IIA's CIA Learning System. Before we begin, I would like to cover a few housekeeping items. During the presentation, if you have any technical issues, press F5 to relaunch the presentation. This should resolve most issues. You will also want to ensure your Flash player is enabled. You may see an option to enable it in your media player on the console. If you continue to experience technical issues, you may also send a message via the Q&A feature on your console. You may also download the slides from today's session from the resource list at the bottom of your console. If time permits, we'll be taking some questions at the conclusion of the presentation. Please feel free to submit your questions at any time using the Q&A feature located at the top left of your console. Please be advised that this is a non-issuing CPE event. No certificates will be issued for attendance. Also, during today's broadcast, we will be giving away a complimentary online CIA review course. You must be present to win, and we will draw the lucky person's name at the end of the presentation. Kelly will provide you with more details during the presentation.
دلوقتي هو الراجل المقدم ده او يعني البريزنتر ده قال لك انا عرفنا بنفسه وعرفنا بالثلاثه اللي هيتكلموا. واحد اللي هو ماكنتاير ده، والتانية تقريبا هي البريزيدنت بتاعت بارتيشن كبير في IIA، والتالتة دي اللي هي الفيس بريزيدنت، مساعدة المدير او مساعدة الرئيس. طيب قال لك ان احنا اداك شوية تعليمات يعني. قال لك ان انت ممكن في خلال الويبينار لو عايز تسأل، لو عايز مش عارف الماتيريال مش ظاهرة، الصوت مش واضح يعني، على اساس ان هو كان لايف ساعتها. طبعا احنا ما عرفناش نحضره لايف لان ايه، بقالهم شهر بيبعتوا لي عليه وبتاع، وانا كنت عامل ريجستريشن وكل حاجة، بس الله المستعان يعني. كان ايه وقت المحاضرة وقلنا احنا خلاص يعني احنا اغلبية الحاجات، بس هم طبعا هيقولوا تيبز، هيقولوا حاجات اكتر من اللي احنا قلناه. احنا دخلنا على الموقع بتاع IIA، شفنا السيستم الجديد وشفنا الامتحانات، كل حاجة يعني اتكلمنا عنها، الاسعار، الكلام ده كله. طيب ايه تاني؟ بيقول لك ان انت يعني بيقول لك ان هو ده مش من ضمن الCBA، او يعني مش من ضمن الCBE اللي هي ايه، الكونتينيوس. يعني في حاجات كده لازم تتعلم بعد ما تاخد الشهادات المهنية، لازم تستمر في الاديوكيشن يعني. تمام، فده مش من ضمنه، ده بقى مجرد بس سيمينار تعريفي او كده. طيب هنا بيقول لك هو ايه اللي انت هتعرفه في القصة دي. هنا CIA Certification بروجرام، ودي محتويات يعني السيمينار. تعال نشوف بقى، نكمل هم هيقولوا ايه.
It is vital you understand the CIA program and requirements, as well as the most effective way to study in order to pass the CIA exam and earn your CIA certification. Our first speaker is Matt McDaniel, who will give you a brief overview of the CIA program, application process, and exam.
بيقول لك اول واحد هيكلمنا على التقديم.
And now I'll turn over to Matt. Thank you.
التقديم والrequirements
All
والحاجات
right,
دي.
thank you for having me today, Miguel. I'm excited to talk to everyone about the value of certification. And if you'll just bear with me for one moment, I am having a little bit of a technical difficulty here. But I do want to tell you today that CIA certification is the only globally recognized internal audit certification. It is the best way to demonstrate that you have the knowledge, skills, and competencies to effectively carry out any internal audit anywhere in the world. And even more than that, having your CIA is like having a key to the vast world of internal audit opportunities, a key that can open doors you didn't even know existed. These three simple letters, CIA, make one powerful statement about the expertise you bring to the table. And Miguel, I just wanted to ask you, I cannot see the slides, so if you can move the slides along for me.
دلوقتي يكلمك على أهمية الشهادة وهيكلمك
I
دلوقتي على
apologize
benefits
everyone.
of earning your CIA.
Okay,
بس
having a
بيقول له
little bit of
السلايدز مش
technical
ظاهرة عندي ومش عارف ايه فهيظبطها له.
And I'm just trying to correct that while I'm speaking here, so I apologize to everyone there. I want to tell you about the background on the CIA. What a lot of people may not realize is that today there are more than 160,000 certified internal auditors around the world. The CIA
عدد
is
بيتكلم على عدد
truly a
الحاصلين على الشهادة.
certification. And the exam is available in 150 countries and in 14 languages. The CIA journey begins with a focus on the IAA's international standards for the professional practice of internal auditing, as well as aspects of the mandatory guidance under the IPPF. The journey continues with a focus on managing an internal audit project and culminates with concepts related to internal controls, risk, governance, and technology.
محتويات الشهادة.
The CIA is a three-part process that establishes your foundational core and is a starting point for career growth in
يعني هو ده الكلام اللي هو كان هو عادي السلايدز دي لان هو ما كانش شايفها فكان بيقول له ظبطها لي وبتاع فعملها له. دلوقتي هو بيقول لك هو في حوالي 160 الف واحد سيرتيفايد جلوبالي في العالم كله حاصلين على الشهاده وبيحاولوا يحصلوا عليها، وقال لك ان في 150 دوله مش عارف 40 لغه في العالم كله، وقال لك ان دي الاونلي جلوبالي ريكوجنايزد سيرتيفيكيشن فور انترنال اوديتورز، يعني الجهه الوحيده في العالم المنوطه ب ان هي تعتمدك في اي حته في العالم دوليا كمراجع داخلي معتمد. وقال لك ان احنا هنشتغل بالفريم ورك بتاع الاي بي اف اللي احنا يعني اطار او اللي هو الاطار الدولي للممارسات المهنيه لمهنه الايه المراجعه الداخليه.
Internal auditing. Okay, what's more, there are many benefits to having your CIA certification, including credibility, confidence, and increased earnings potential. In fact, earning the CIA designation is a valuable accomplishment and a professional advantage for auditors at all stages of their careers, including chief audit executives, audit managers, audit staff, and risk management staff, as well as students enrolled in an accounting or other business or financial degree program.
أهمية الشهادة وإن أنت.
In fact, according to the IAA's 2018 North American Pulse of Internal Audit Survey, 84% of the participants believe the CIA brings value to their internal audit work, and 70% of chief audit executives say they prefer to hire candidates with their CIA designation. And according to the IAA's 2017 Internal Audit Compensation Study, CIAs earn an average of $38,000 more annually than those without a certification.
كلامك على ارتفاع الإحصائيات بتأكد أهميتها وارتفاع الدخول بعد حصولك على الشهادة.
First, how does the CIA certification process work? Well, the application and registration process is managed online through the IAA Certification Candidate Management System, commonly referred to as CCMS.
ده السيستم اللي بيقدموا بيه.
If you happen to already have a profile in CCMS but forget your username or password, make sure you contact the IAA's customer relations team. Don't create a new profile. But if you don't already have a CCMS profile, you'll want to select first-time user and follow the directions from there.
بيتكلم في عملية التسجيل بقى ان انت بتخش تسجل لأول مرة.
Because upcoming changes to the CCMS will require your primary email address to access your profile.
The entire CIA certification process can be broken down into 4 basic steps:
أربع
apply,
خطوات
register, schedule, and verify.
علشان تسجل في
Note that
الشهادة.
you apply for the program once and then register individually for each CIA exam part. Sometimes people get these two terms mixed up, so if you ever need to contact customer service, keep in mind that distinction. After you register for an exam part, the next step is to schedule a sitting for that exam part. The final step, after you've successfully passed all 3 exam parts, is to verify your professional experience as an exit requirement for earning your CIA. You have 3 years to complete the CIA program.
دلوقتي خلوها 3 سنين عشان تخلص الشهادة، كان 4 سنين الأول.
When this launches sometime in 2020, the process will become even easier. Well, let's talk about the experience requirement. Candidates may apply to the certification program and sit for exams prior to obtaining the required work experience. However, candidates will not be certified until the experience requirement is met within the program eligibility period. Experience for the IA certification programs is based on the maximum level of education achieved. So basically, it's 12 months of internal auditing experience or its equivalent with a master's, 24 months for a bachelor's, and 60 months for an associate's. There is an alternate pathway for candidates who do not possess the minimum education requirements. Again, this is an exit requirement for the program. So if you were employed in an internal audit-related position for the 3-year duration of your program eligibility period, you'll have 36 months more experience at the end of it.
دلوقتي بيتكلم على المتطلبات بتاعت الشهادة، ان انت معاك
Okay,
بكالوريوس
looks like it's
وسنوات
time for our
الخبرة.
first poll. Miguel, would you like to take it from here?
Yes, thank you, Matt. For the first poll, when are you planning to take a CIA exam part? Choices are within the next 6 months, within the next 12 months, or haven't decided yet. I'll give you about 30 seconds before we push the results.
بيقول لك هو دلوقتي عاملين فوتنج للناس اللي حاضرين السيمينار، انت ناوي تخلص او بتخطط ان انت تمتحن بعد قد ايه؟ بعد 6 شهور ولا بعد 12 شهر ولا لسه ما قررتش؟ مديك 30 ثانية تفكر وتعمل سبميت، على اساس ان هو هيعمل كده احصائية للناس اللي حاضرين. ممكن يكون معاه، ما اعرفش، انا ما حضرتش لايف، كنت في المحاضرة ساعتها واتكلمت مع الناس قلت لهم ايه رايكم يا جماعة نشرح ولا نحضر السيمينار؟ فقالوا لا خلينا في الكورس بتاعنا. بص بقى دي الاحصائيات على طول اهي.
It looks like more than half of you plan on taking within the next
ناس كتير قالوا لا احنا هنسجل بعد 6 شهور نمتحن، ناس قالوا سنة، وناس لسه ما قرروش لسه.
Most of you listening today, watching today, are definitely going to take it, your CIA exam part, next CIA exam part soon, or your first CIA exam part. So that's good that you're here today. All right, let me move it along here. Let's talk about the exam parts themselves to give you an idea of how the testing works. As I mentioned earlier, the CIA is a 3-part exam. It's important to note that the exams are scored and validated through a rigorous process involving third-party independent validation. The IAA uses a scaled scoring process which ensures that scores are compatible across test forms and over time. And the CIA exam is a non-disclosed examination, which means that current exam questions and answers will not be published or divulged. On the IAA website, you'll find computer-based testing, or CBT tutorials. CBT is what you will be doing when you take the test. These CBT tutorials contain information to assist you in understanding what an exam will look like, how to navigate through it, and how to use tools within the exam, such as the on-screen calculator, and how you can flag a question for review.
يقول لك ان في عندهم محاكاة للامتحان يعني عشان ما تخشش تتفاجئ.
Experience by showing you the functionality of the exams as they will operate at a Pearson VUE testing center. Basically, they're so you can familiarize yourself with that testing environment. All of these components and more are employed because the IAA, the Professional Certifications Board, and Pearson VUE take exam security seriously because the value of your certification depends on it. I want to let you know there are important changes to the syllabi and the program that I'll go over next. But first, let's take a look at the current language availabilities. The new 2019 CIA exams are currently available in Arabic, traditional Chinese, English, French, German, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, and Turkish. And
الثلاثة برضه بتوع الشهادة، وهنا بيتكلم على
scheduled to be released throughout
اللغات
2020
المتاحة.
and into 2021. So be sure to check the IAA website for the latest release dates if you're interested in taking the exams in the upcoming languages, which are the Simplified Chinese, Polish, or Thai. So I've mentioned a couple times now that the CIA program involves 3 exam parts, and these 3 exam parts are distinct. Part 1 aligns with the International Professional Practices Framework, or IPPF, and includes 6 domains covering the foundation of internal auditing: independence and objectivity, proficiency in due professional care, quality assurance and improvement programs, governance, risk management and control, and fraud risk. Part 2 includes 4 domains focused on managing the internal audit activity, planning the engagement, performing the engagement, and communicating engagement results and monitoring progress. And Part 3 includes 4 domains focused on business acumen, information security, information technology, and financial management. So I want to take a moment here to take a deeper dive into the new CIA Part 3. The IAA began a process in 2017 to review the material within all 3 parts of the CIA exam. The CIA itself underwent a global job analysis study to determine the knowledge, skills, and abilities most applicable to today's internal audit practitioners, and the study results in the revised CIA exam to reflect the evolution of the internal audit profession worldwide. While there are important changes
هو بيتكلم على ان في حصل تخفيض في البارت الثالث من 8 ل 4 topics
exciting
بس.
changes are in Part 3. Part 3 has always been the most challenging and intimidating exam because the scope formerly was massive. The new syllabus for Part 3 is streamlined to focus on 4 core areas already mentioned that are most critical for internal auditors: business acumen, information security, information technology, and financial management. To keep up with the technological disruptions like I had earlier, it is essential for internal auditors to possess advanced technology skills such as data privacy and cybersecurity, which is why 45% of Part 3 is focused on these areas. Internal audit's roles in strategic risks and data analytics also were added. A little bit deeper dive on Parts 1 and 2. Part 1 and 2 have been revised to more closely align with the IAA standards. The new Part 1 exam assesses attribute standards such as the foundations of internal auditing, fraud and governance, risk management and controls. The nature of internal auditors' work is evaluating and contributing to the improvement of an organization's governance, risk management and controls processes. Therefore, 35% of Part 1 is focused on these areas. And the new Part 2 focuses on performance
بيتكلم على محتويات بارت 1، دلوقتي بيتكلم على بارت 2.
the internal audit activity and performing internal audit engagements. Planning and performing engagements and communicating results are what internal auditors do every day, which is why 80% of Part 2 is focused on internal audit engagements. So I mentioned there are some program changes. As of September 1, the IAA made some important changes to be aware of. The CIA program eligibility window has been adjusted from 4 years to 3 years, which reflects the amount of time typically required to complete the CIA certification process. If you were already approved into the program, you will maintain the 4-year program window. If you were already approved prior to September 1. If you are approved into the program on or after September 1, you have 3 years to complete the program. In addition, the waiting period to retake an exam has been shortened. As long as you're within the program eligibility window, you may retake an exam after waiting 60 days.
هو بيكلمك دلوقتي على ان كان بعد ما تعمل ريجستريشن بتقعد 4 سنين، دلوقتي بقى 3 سنين بعد سبتمبر 2019. ولازم اللي هو الويتنج 60 يوم.
Have you already applied for the CIA certification program? The choices are yes, no, or not sure. I'll give you about 30 seconds to answer before we push the results.
دلوقتي عاملين فوتنج تاني او يعني استقراء لرأي الناس اللي حاضرين السيمينار، اللي هو انت فعلا عملت ابلايد، يعني انت مسجل فعلا على الموقع بتاع CIA علشان تحصل على شهادة CIA Certification Program ولا لا. تسجيلك زي ما قال لك كده كان الاول بيتيح لك 4 سنين تخلص فيهم الشهاده الثري بارتس، بعد طبعا الريكوايرمنتس. 30 ثانيه خلصوا معلش. دلوقتي بقوا 3 سنين زي ما قال لنا كده.
Okay, I'm looking at this here.
دي النتيجه اهو، يعني في ناس
almost evenly split between yes and no on people who have applied already, and
مسجلين اكتر من اللي مش مسجلين، والنوت شور 3% بس.
Plan on taking it within taking their first exam part within the next 6 months. So I would say if you haven't already applied and you want to take it, you definitely have your plan set out for you there. So, all right. And
ده الهاند بوك اللي احنا قبل كده حملناه من على الموقع بتاعهم.
Let's talk about maintaining certification once you earn it. To maintain your certification, you must earn and report continuing professional education or CPE credit hours, including 2 hours of ethics training by December 31 annually. In accordance with the IAA's CPE
بعد ما تحصل على الشهادة بتبقى محتاج تذاكر كل سنة 40 ساعة.
Now, keep in mind that when you successfully earn your CIA, you're awarded 80 CPE hours. That's 40 hours for the year you earned it and 40 hours for the following year as well. After that, if you do not report, your certification goes inactive, and as a result, you're no longer approved to represent yourself as a certified internal auditor. But remember, there are many ways to earn CPEs. You can earn credit by speaking on relevant topics at events, researching and authoring topical articles, serving in a volunteer capacity with the IAA on the local, regional, national, or international level, and more. So it's not just about webinars and conferences. There are many ways to earn CPEs. One other thing to point out is all individuals who have earned CIA certification and maintain it by reporting CPEs are eligible to opt into the IAA certification registry. This up-to-date record, which is launching in 2020, will provide an opportunity for employers and recruiters to verify your certification.
كل اللي هو قاله ده على الناس اللي حصلت على الشهادة.
Related to the CIA program, be sure to download the Certification Candidate Handbook from the IAA. It includes steps to certification, accessing and using the IAA's Certification Candidate Management System, or CCMS, registering and scheduling an exam part, preparing for the exam itself, checking in at a test center, taking the exam, requirements for maintaining your certification, and much more.
هنا بيقول لك في الكتاب ده او في الهاند بوك هتلاقي ازاي تسجل.
Okay, that does it for me. Let me turn the presentation over to Vicky now.
وحاجات كتير يعني الكورس المراكز المحترف بيها
الماتيريال. And I will say good morning to everybody because I'm broadcasting from Northern California. So it's about
طبعا good morning ده كان عندهم، بس احنا كان عندنا 8 بالليل يوم الاربعاء كنا في محاضرة CIA.
I'm very excited for all of you who are
هم عندهم في شمال كاليفورنيا كان الصبح.
CIA journey or just considering doing it. It truly is the gold standard for certified for internal auditors all around the globe. And just recognize that once you earn your CIA certification, it is portable. It is recognized. It is highly valued all around the world. So you can go to any country, anywhere, and your CIA certification will serve you well to get your foot in the door for that interview that may be that that next job that you are hoping to win. So I'm going to talk about exam preparation, and then we'll talk about a few study tips as well. So why would you choose the IIA's CIA learning system? Well, the product is very comprehensive. It has been updated for the new exam syllabus that Matt talked about earlier. It is teaching the entire syllabus. It's not just a matter of getting in and memorizing
كده
terminology
بيقولوا
and
يعني
definitions
السيستم
and so
بتاعهم او
forth.
السيستم
The
التعليمي بتاعهم
materials
يعني
are
بيعملوا
presented in
له
a very
اعلان متعالي
user-friendly,
على
very
اساس ان هو
readable format.
احدث
So it reads
وكومبرهنسيف
like a very
شامل الكلام ده
logical
كله.
story. And at least my students in class have found it very easy to digest and very easy to comprehend and understand. So it's designed for real practical takeaways and learning versus just memorization to get you through the exam. The materials are organized so that they will fit any learning style and any schedule. We have the books. Each part has a textbook. We have online tools and resources. There are study tools. There are quizzes. There are tests. There are planning documents. There are all kinds of assessment tools. There are resources. So it's a very comprehensive tool to help you earn your CIA certification. It's important to understand how you learn best. Do you do well in a self-study environment? Are you highly disciplined and you can pace yourself and you can tackle your reading and tackle the quizzes and circle back on those topics where maybe you're not doing quite so well? If you're very, very disciplined and you don't need the interaction with other students or an instructor, these materials will serve you very well. They're very well organized. They're structured so that you can easily break each piece, each topic down into bite-sized pieces and, get through it and be successful on your exams. There also are instructor-led courses. We will have, there are virtual courses, so you can log on a webinar, much like we're doing
كل
today.
الكلام ده على البدائل المتاحة ليك، يعني مش تاخدها سيلف ستادي ولا مع انستراكتور ولا شركة يعني
January
كوربريت.
6th, the IIA is starting a Part 1 class. So you can check on the IIA's website for that. Also, I'm teaching one through Rice University out of Houston, Texas, beginning on January 14th, and also teaching through UCLA in the virtual space beginning on February 4th.
هي بتقول لك هي البريزيدنت دي هي الانستراكتور نفسها
يعني. If you are more interested
يعني.
in a live classroom experience, again, check the IIA's website. The IIA is hosting a comprehensive 3-part course in the Lake Mary headquarters office. That would be Lake Mary, Florida, beginning on February 18th. And then you can also find all kinds of IIA chapter hosted courses and various other resources. So just check out the IIA website and find the course that's best for you. If you happen to have a big team of auditors or even a small team of auditors and you can partner with other audit shops, it might make sense for you to have an on-site course. In other words, your organization would host a CIA exam prep course right in your corporate offices, where we would have perhaps a instructor come to you and present the materials and work through some case study exercises and what have you to study for your exams. Prepare to pass. And the slide indicates there's volume savings when we have groups of 24 or more. So consider that. It's a good idea to partner with other organizations if you want to host a corporate course. So let's get back to Miguel. You can do the polling question, Miguel.
All right, thank you, Vicki. So the next polling question is, how do you like to study? The selections are on my own or self-study program, in a classroom or in-person instructor-led course, in an online classroom, like an online instructor-led course, or other. I'll give everyone about 30 seconds to answer before I push the results to the screen.
برضه استقصاء في تالت استقصاء في 30 ثانية. هم شاطرين قوي في جمع المعلومات. يعني how do you like to study؟ انت عايز تدرس ايه؟ هم قال لك ان في بدائل، يعني تدرسها مع نفسك on my own self study ولا في كلاس مع شخص انستراكتور كده ولا اونلاين. الاثنين ينفعوا. او هنا اخر حاجة قال لك اونلاين كلاس روم وفي بقى يعني كوربريت زي ما هي قالت لك كده. ف يعني هم ايه بيشرحوا للناس او بيعرضوا للناس وبيعملوا اعلان في نفس الوقت وبيجمعوا معلومات في نفس الوقت.
I'm going ahead and push the results. Take it away, Vicky.
اغلبيه الناس قالت لهم اونلاين وقصدي on my own self study.
Very interesting. So we see that somewhere north of half of you like to study on your own, about 22% in an instructor-led course in person. And this is interesting. Online, so virtual, about 21% of you also. I have found in my travels and teaching this curriculum that this is pretty consistent with what we see. A lot of people will attempt to do a self-study program, and it's not unusual to get through part 1 and maybe even part 2, but typically when it comes to that part 3, which tends to be a little tougher for most people, people end up going with a virtual class that's led by an instructor or a live, instructor-led classroom type course. So very interesting data there. Let's talk about preparing to pass. What are the steps to success? Well, first of all, like anything else, you know about the 6 C's or the 7 C's, proper prior planning prevents poor performance. So you've got to plan your studies. Secondly, read the study materials. So do the actual studying when the curriculum, highlighting content, making notes in the margins, that type of thing. Or you can do this in your e-books also. All of the materials can be downloaded to electronic tools like your Kindle or your tablet. Third step is application of the concepts. And then fourth step finally is practicing for the exam.
يعني لازم تخطط للمسيرة بتاعتك في الأول.
Study the actual materials, application of concepts, and then
بعد كده
practice.
تذاكر وتحجز وبعد كده
So
تمتحن.
we often get the question, well, how long do I need to study? The, kind of the historical data shows that people will study 40 to 50 hours for part 1, 40 to 50 hours for part 2, and then a minimum of 50 hours for part 3. So how do you know how long it's going to take you to properly prepare and be successful on that first attempt? Well, how recently did you finish your college education? If you're very recently out of school, you're going to be used to studying, you'll be used to taking exams, you'll be used to analyzing exam questions, you will have very good time management skills to move yourself through the exam questions to ensure that you complete all of the questions. So that's one consideration. In my case, I had been out of university for, 18 or 19 years, and it took me some time to kind of refresh my study skills. So just be aware that that the recency of your college experience will impact how long it's going to take you to study and prepare for these exams. Your years of experience. So how many years have you worked in an internal audit professional capacity? And then beyond that, considering whether or not you work for or have worked for an internal audit function that follows the Red Book, that follows the standards. I did a full day course several weeks ago on IIA standards, and we had about 88 people in the course. We were in Sacramento, California. And I had people ask me at the beginning of class on the break, well, what is a Red Book? Where can I get one of those? And that's a pretty good indicator to me that their audit activity does not follow the IIA's professional practices framework. So if you've had 10 or 15 years of experience, perhaps in a government, maybe a state or local government role or even federal government role, where you're following Yellow Book standards, then obviously Red Book standards and IIA guidance may be new to you. So that's going to require more time to study. Another consideration is your expertise and your experience in accounting and information technology. Matthew said earlier that the IT piece of the Part 3 exam is about 45%. obvious reasons. Everything we do in business today touches information technology, or I should say the reverse is true. IT touches everything we do in business, right? So your expertise in accounting and understanding the accounting cycles and the risks and the controls that should be in place in the accounting cycle, such as procurement to pay, sales, accounts receivable, and collections. So thinking about the risks in those accounting cycles and the controls that should be in place for accuracy of financial reporting and other types of reporting as well. Your study times will differ based on your study approach. So are you going to do
وكل
that
الكلام
live
ده على الخطوة
classroom
الأولى من
experience?
الخطة
Are you going to
بتاعتك
do
إن
a
أنت
virtual
تخطط
experience?
هتذاكر قد إيه،
Are
ودي
you going
المينيمم
to do
الوقت
a
لكل بارت،
self-study program?
وهيفرق
And then, of
تعليمك
course,
وهيفرق
how
الاكسبيرينس
quickly do
بتاعتك،
you
وهل أنت
read
شغال
and
في الانترنال
comprehend
اوديت
the
ولا
topic?
لأ. ده
So
كان
that's
ملخص
kind of
الكلام ده
some
كله.
things to consider to make your personal assessment of what your time commitment will be in planning to study for the CIA. The CIA learning system has a smart study plan. So you can go into learncia.com and you can evaluate your strengths and weaknesses first by doing kind of a benchmark online pretest. And then from the results of that test, you can create this step-by-step study plan. And the software considers the number of years that you've been working in internal audit, number of years out of school, what's the duration of your study? In other words, do you want to finish your part 1 in the next 2 months? Do you want to finish your part 1 in 6 months? You know, what is your goal?
دلوقتي هي بتتكلم على فوائد السيستم بتاعها، واحنا ممكن السيستم بتاعهم يعني السيستم التعليمي بتاعهم احنا ممكن نستفيد من الكلام اللي هي قالته ده في عامة يعني انجل، حتى لو هتذاكر مع انستراكتور هتذاكرها انت سيلف ستادي، بيقول لك ان انت تعمل اختبار تجريبي. السيستم بتاعهم بتاع الاي اي اي بيعمل لك اختبار تجريبي يعرفك السترينجث والويكنس عشان يعمل لك خطة هتخلصها في شهر، هتخلصها في 6 شهور، هتخلصها في قد ايه. تمام.
I recommend compressing your study. You'll find that if you can get part 1 done in 4 weeks minimum, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, the duration of study is pretty significant. If you're going to extend it out over 4 or 5 or 6 months, you know, we tend to take our eye off the ball and have distractions get in the way, and procrastination is the number 1 reason why people do not pass their CIA exams and don't earn their CIA certification. Just putting it off and putting it off. So don't let that be you. Don't procrastinate. Come up with a reasonable study plan that is realistic for your life and your schedule, and just get it done. Step 2 then is studying the reading materials. So we said that each part has a textbook. All of these books can be downloaded onto your e-reader. If you opt to get the hard copy books, you know, you certainly can use hard copy, and then you have the opportunity to highlight, mark in the margins, and so forth. Just depends on what you prefer, what tools you prefer, what style. There are also video tutorials on the IPPF. You can find those on the audit channel, and you can find them throughout the CIA learning system as well.
دلوقتي بتقولك بناء على الخطوة الأولى إن أنت خططت لدراستك وإنهائك لشهادة السي اي اي، هتبدأ تاني حاجة ستادي بقى الماتيريال، تشوف أنت هتشتغل بورقي ولا أونلاين ولا الفيديوهات بتاعت الاي بي اف. برضه هم بيعلنوا أو بيروجوا بيسوقوا للسيستم بتاعهم، بس أنت ممكن تتخذ هذه الكلمات أو يعني المخطط ده الاستراتيجي دي للتخطيط لشهادتك بقى، سواء بأي ماتيريال تانية، سواء هتدرس مع انستراكتور سواء أونلاين أو كده، أو ان انت تدرسها سيلف ستادي لوحدك. تعال نشوف بقى الخطوة الثالثة.
Well, application of the concepts. We have section quizzes that cover virtually all of the topics in your CIA exam syllabus. So these are found in your online tools and resources in learncia.com, and they're very nicely structured so that when you get a question answered correctly, it will pop up in green like you see on the slide. If you answer it incorrectly, you will get a red highlighting, and in either case, it will direct you back to the chapter and verse in the textbook where you can find the background and the information to support the correct answer on the question.
طبعا بعد ما تعمل الخطوه الثانيه للاستادي، تذاكر الماتيريال بتاعتك، لازم تحل عليها عشان تعرف اخطائك ونقط ضعفك وايه المشاكل، ايه الحاجه اللي انت فاهمها صح واللي مش فاهمها صح.
We recommend as you're working through the quizzes, when you are unsure of an answer, you absolutely want to take an educated guess and mark the answer. But we recommend that you kind of keep a sidebar tally of those question numbers that you're unsure of, so that when you circle back, even if you get the answer correct, you do want to circle back to that content and read it and make sure that you understand it, so that you are no longer, making an educated guess.
طيب دلوقتي النصايح اللي هي بتقولها، او يعني اللي غالبيتها اللي سمعناها من زمان من اول ما بدأنا في الشهادات الدولية، ان انت بتجاوب السهل الاول و اللي انت عارفه متأكد منه. طيب اللي مش عارفه بتعمل حاجة اسمها educated guess. يعني ايه؟ توقع، مش كده يعني حدي بادي كرومب زبادي، لا ده انا بختار، بعمل حاجة اسمها educated guess، يعني توقع مدروس. انا الحمد لله فاهم الموضوع، بس السؤال ده ملتبس عليا، مش عارف في A وB وC ودي، في واحد اتنين ممكن يبقوا صح، اللي عارفه هتحله متأكد منه، اللي مش عارفه هتتوقعه.
You understand the information that's being tested, and you understand why the correct answer is in fact the best answer. The CIA learning system also has resources such as flashcards and a glossary and dictionary.
نكلمك برضو عن غير الكويزز، في فلاش كارد عشان تفتكر، ممكن انت تعملها لنفسك، ممكن زي مثلا الاختصارات او الحاجات اللي تفكرك، الجلوزري اللي هو زي القاموس، المصطلحات المهمة.
You may use a little different language than the IIA guidance, specifically uses for different activities and different technical terminology. So the words do matter. The words matter when you are reading and trying to understand an exam question, exactly what is being asked and how to select the best answer.
بتقولك الكلمة بتفرق، فلازم تبقى فاهم.
So step 4, beyond the quizzes then, the IIA's CIA learning system has a CIA practice exam that's available for you. And for each of the 3 parts, this practice exam will look exactly like the screen when you take your exam at the Pearson VUE exam site.
بتقولك ان هم عندهم تقدر تعمل محاكاة للامتحان، يعني تعمل براكتس، اسئلة، تحل اسئلة كتير قبل البتاع، وهو السيستم بتاعهم بيقولك بالظبط زي الشاشة بتاعت الامتحان. يعني القصة دي مش مهمة أوي، المهم ان انت تعمل براكتس قبل الامتحان. وانا بعمل بس بيز عشان لو اترجم او بتاع، لو الصوت مش واضح او الترجمة، فالله المستعان. تعال نكمل.
So you will see the question number in the upper right hand corner, along with the clock ticking away and counting down your remaining time. So very important. Time management is very important in these exams. People usually get through part 1 and part 2 without much of a time constraint. Actually part 1.
تقول لك دلوقتي ان انت ادارتك للوقت مهمة جدا في الامتحان. انت هيظهر لك هنا السؤال رقم كام، 1 من 125، والوقت المتبقي ليك، وتقدر تجاوب السؤال او ان انت تعمل له مارك بحيث ان انت ترجع له تاني. تمام؟ يعني الشاشة كده تعتبر الناس فهمتها يعني. تمام؟ ادي يعني هي بتقول لك البراكتس اكزام ده كده خلاص، احنا ادينا شفناه مش لازم نشتريه بقى يعني. اهو ادي شكل البراكتس اكزام، ادي السؤال والاختيارات بتاعتك، وانت هتدوس على الاختيار الصح وتدوس نيكست. عايز تعمل له مارك بحيث ان انت ترجع له تاني. ادي الوقت، خد بالك ان انت لازم تعمل ادارة للوقت عشان الوقت ما يسرقكش وتلاقي نفسك ما حلتش كل الاسئلة. تعال نكمل او نسمع بقية كلامها.
One being 125 questions, That one I think gives people some trouble sometimes as far as time management. But you do
في
have
مشكلة في
2.5
إجابة ال
hours to do
125
that
سؤال.
exam. Part 3, a little tougher. That's where you get some of those, risk and control questions around accounting and IT. So those questions might take a little longer for you to digest and answer correctly. Practice for your exam. We also, in the IIA's CIA learning system, we have a Study Plus tool. This will give you some pointers and some guidelines to knowing when you're prepared. It'll help you understand the way the exam is scored. So it's scaled scoring. It's not a straight percentage correct. So the Guide to CIA Exam Scoring, it gives you a question analysis grid and also study tips from successful candidates. So people who have experienced the exam and done well, there's feedback there for you. So let's move to the study tips and test taking.
كده خلصت المراحل بتاعة تسجيلك ومذاكرتك او يعني تخطيطك للمذاكرة ومذاكرتك وحلك للمسائل، تجهيزك يعني الامتحان وحجز الامتحان والامتحان. الستبس خلصت. دلوقتي هتتكلم على التبس بقى. تبس يعني ايه؟ افكار او حاجات تنصحك بيها ان انت وانت بتذاكر او اثناء مرحله الدراسه او اثناء الايه، اثناء الامتحان. تيست تيكينج يعني التبس دي التبس دي الافكار او النصائح بتاعه الاستادي الدراسه، ودي التبس بتاعه الامتحان. تعال نكمل البودكاست.
Tips. Study tips. So first of all, choose the right study method for your learning style. If you know that you prefer to study with other people in a live classroom environment, then go for it. Do it. Find a class, show up, and participate. Interact with the students and the instructor. Or you can do that in the virtual space. Again, if you're very independent and you like to study on your own, then go for it that way. Be realistic about
اول تيبز او نصيحه هي فعلا جميله جدا. بيقول لك شوف انت الطريقه اللي بتفضلها اللي بتنفع معاك، ان انت هل بتحب تذاكر مع الناس، بتحب تذاكر لوحدك، وحاول ان انت دي مرحله تخطيطك للامتحان. تاني للمذاكره يعني والامتحان. تاني حاجه بتقول لك في مرحله التخطيط برضه لازم تعرف انا هخش الامتحان بعد 3 شهور، انا هخش الامتحان بعد قد ايه، علشان تخليك واقعي. تقول لك رياليستيك وافويد. بص بقى تعال نكمل الكلام بتاعها.
about your time. Be realistic about the duration of study time, whether it's going to take you that 4 to 6 weeks to pass part 1, or you're going to stretch it out over 10 weeks or 3 months. So be realistic. Set your exam date. This is another issue. Very often people will apply for their CIA certification, their application is approved, and then they hit the ground running with their studying, but they delay and delay and delay for committing to their exam date. Don't do that. This is one of the first steps for those master procrastinators that never get it done. If you think of this as a college course, think of each exam part as a college course, a self-study college course, and you get to pick your final exam date. Do an accurate assessment of how long you need to study. Get online on the Pearson V site and register for your exam. Choose an exam date. Don't procrastinate. What this does for you is that now you have that commitment. You have committed to yourself that your final exam is going to happen on December 28th.
تلتزم بميعاد يعني تلتزم
بوقت. So you have between now and December 28th to finish part 1. If you defer, in other words, if you cancel your exam appointment, it will cost you $75 to change it. So there's a financial implication with procrastination. The point is, begin with the end in mind. Set your exam date and now back into those 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks that you have planned to study, and calendar your study time. Look at the table of contents and the curriculum, break it up into manageable pieces, calendar your study time for your reading, for your quizzes, for your flashcards, for all that reinforcement stuff. But again, be realistic. Honor your appointments to yourself. Recognize this is your investment in your professional development and your career path. So once you've calendared your study time, show up for your study time, just like it was a college course, and your instructor expected you to show up, engage, do the work. Understand your strengths and weaknesses. Again, write your own flashcards. The flashcards are there for you to download. A lot of people are very successful with actually printing them in a duplex format with the term on one side of the page and the definition on the other side of the page. But people, as they're reading the curriculum, they will go through those flashcards and augment them with other details that they've picked up through their reading. Proficiency areas.
طيب دلوقتي هي بتقولك بناء على الوقت اللي انت حطيته هتعمل الخطة بتاعتك، تمام؟ وبناء على الخطة انت قبل ما تبدأ لازم الخطة يعني في الدراسة، يعني انا هخلص بعد شهرين 3 بعد 6 زي ما انت عايز. زي مثلا الفوتنج اللي عملوه ده، في ناس قالوا بعد 6 شهور، في ناس قالوا بعد 12 شهر. المهم ان هي بتقولك لازم تحدد مناطق القوة والضعف. مناطق القوة ايه اللي انا المجال ده انا عارفه، ايه اللي انا عارفه، ايه اللي انا مش عارفه. في الاخر لما بتذاكر بتعمل فلاش كاردز او يعني ملخصات لنفسك كده، او تستخدم الملخصات بتاعتهم اللي هي ايه، بتفكر او بتراجع الذاكرة او كده. طبعا الكلام ده هي قالته بعد ايه، بعد ما تكون انت خططته، بعد كده ذاكرته، بعد كده عملت براكتس، وترجع للفلاش كاردز قبل بقى ايه الامتحان، يعني قبل الامتحانات. طيب دلوقتي بتتكلم في حتة البروفيشنسي اريا. يعني ايه؟ يعني في نقط كده او اماكن في المنهج لازم بتقولك put extra effort in studying proficiency area. يعني هتتعب معلش شوية، راجع الحتة دي تاني. ليه؟ الحتة دي لازم تبقى فاهمها كويس، الحتة دي مهمة، مش محتاجة فهم عادي، فهم بروفيشنسي، يعني راجل خبير، راجل مهني.
This is important. The exam topics are tested either at the basic level or the proficiency level. So the basic level is fundamental recall of terminology and definitions. Proficiency area topics require you to analyze maybe 3 or 4 different things going on in a business scenario and synthesize that information, pull it all together, and draw a conclusion about maybe a risk issue.
دلوقتي هي بتكلمك في حته مهمه جدا جدا جدا. قالت لك الامتحان هيسالك في البيزك اريا والبروفيشنسي اريا. البيزك اريا ممكن تكون تعريفات، حاجات مباشره، حاجات انت ذاكرتها وفهمتها. انما البروفيشنسي اريا لا، دي مش هتلاقي السؤال مباشر كده في الامتحان، هتلاقيه لافف شويه، محتاج شويه تحليل، محتاج شويه تربيط حاجات في بعضها. تعال نكمل.
For the best internal control for that situation.
واحسن بعد ما حللت وعرفت ايه هنا المشكله، ايه الريسك هنا، تشوف ايه افضل انترنال كنترول لهذا الريسك. تمام؟ تعال نكمل كلامها برضو تاني.
Level of understanding, analysis, synthesis, and judgment. So the point being, you're going to have to put some extra effort into studying the topics that are identified as proficiency area topics. And in the CIA learning system, the basic level topics versus the proficiency level topics are easily identified in the table of contents with a letter B, like Bravo for basic, or letter P, like Paul for proficiency. And then they're also identified within the curriculum as well. Understand the concepts. So it's very difficult to be successful on the CIA examinations through just memorizing information. You've got to have the ability to analyze information and consider the practical applicability of the standards and the guidance. Be prepared for the testing center and the test format. So the learning system is going to give you that CIA exam emulation in the final exam tools.
دي اخر نقطة اللي بتكلمك على ان انت تبقى يعني عارف التست سنتر اللي انت تمتحن فيه، والتست فورمات فاميليار بالامتحان، وعارف شكله هيبقى عامل ازاي. بس قبليها كانت بتكلمك على ان الكونسبتس الحتت اللي هي البيزكس، الحتت اللي فيها كونسبت لازم تبقى فاهمها كويس علشان تقدر تفتكر الحتت الاقوى اللي هي اللي فيها البروفيشنسي. تعال نكمل كلامها على حته التستنج سنتر والتستنج فورمات اللي انت لازم تجهز لها قبل دخول الامتحان. كل ده ايه الستادي تيبس، لسه في التيكينج او التست تيكينج تيبس او النصايح او الافكار بتاعه الامتحان. احنا كده بنتكلم دلوقتي كل دول اللي خلصناهم في النصايح بتاعه الستادينج الدراسه.
And the online resources. So be prepared for the testing center. Understand that you will not be able to take anything into the room with you. No calculators, no pencils, no pens. It's a highly secure exam site, like Matthew mentioned earlier in the webcast. So it's very secure. You'll have a locker where you can lock your wallet, your purse, your keys. They will give you headphones, noise-canceling headphones if you are distracted. Other people will be taking exams at the Pearson Viewing Center. At the exam center, they might be administering MCAT exams for medical school, or the GMAT exams, or LSAT, or they administer many different types of professional exams. So there is a lot of activity going on in the exam center. Just be prepared for the testing center.
تقول لك يعني ان مثلا هيبقى ممنوع دخول التليفونات المزعجه، ممنوع مش عارف ايه، فانت لازم تبقى فاهم الحاجات اللي هتحصل في يوم الامتحان وفاهم الايه prepared for the التستنج سنتر يعني.
Study tips. You've got to know the IPPF, the International Professional Practices Framework. It's imperative that you know the framework inside and out, and that you know the attribute standards in Part 1 exam, and then all of the performance standards in the Part 2 exam, and then of course the fundamentals of business that are in the Part 3 exam. Another best practice or study tips is to write an audit manual using the standards as a baseline. Maybe you don't have to write a whole manual, but you might want to write a table of contents just from your memory and just from your understanding of the standards and the guidance. Just jot down, if you were starting a new internal audit function, what would your table of contents look like for your audit manual for your team? Solidify the concepts by thinking of real-life examples that you've experienced through your audit career.
هنا بتكمل برضو السلايد دي مكمله للستادي تيبس. لسه ما دخلناش يعني في التست تيكينج تيبس، لسه في نصائح الدراسه بتقول لك ان انت لازم تقرا الاي بي بي اف وتكتبه كمان، يعني تحاول يعني ده مهم جدا. لغايه الاوديت مانوال. الاوديت مانوال يعني اجراءات المراجعه using standards as a baseline. تحاول تفكر في المشاكل الحقيقيه او في شركتك في شغلك ايه اللي بيقابلك اللي ممكن فعلا يكون يعني ايه بيمس دراستك. modify concepts المبادئ اللي انت عملتها by thinking of real life examples. ايه اللي حاصل في الشركة فعلا المراجع الداخلي ممكن يساعد فيه، ممكن ايه العيوب ايه المزايا. طبق اللي اتعلمته في الواقع العملي عشان ما تنساهوش.
Another consideration, particularly if you have not worked in a public company, for example, that has an independent audit committee. Maybe you've been a local government auditor or a state government auditor, or you've worked for a nonprofit. Think about what would internal audit look like if I worked for a publicly traded company and we had an independent audit committee of the board of directors, and the chief audit executive reports directly to that audit committee, and you have a large audit team with varying.
دلوقتي بتقول لك ان انت اتعينت في وظيفه جديده، عندك اشتغلت في شركه publicly traded company، يعني شركه متداول كوربوريشن كبيره متداول اسهمها في البورصه، فهتطبق الايه الانترنال اوديتنج بقى زي ما بيقول الكتاب يعني البيست براكتس. عندك الشيف اوديت اكزيستيف بيريبورتس للاوديت كوميتي. الاوديت كوميتي دي لجنه تبع البورد، مجلس زي ما قلنا كده، عشان يبقى في استقلاليه للمراجعين الداخليين اللي تحت الراجل ده اللي هو الشيف اوديت اكزيستيف. بيدي تقريره على طول او مين رئيسه على طول. الاوديت كوميتي دي لجنه منبثقه من مجلس الاداره. عشان يبقى فيه استقلالية ويقدر يقول اللي هو عايزه. طيب
levels of staff.
وشغال في شركة كبيرة، عندك large audit department، إدارة كبيرة للمراجعة الداخلية with very staffing levels، يعني الستافنج الناس اللي معاك فيها variation، يعني في اختلاف، في ناس مستواها عالي، في ناس مستواها منخفض. فلو فكرت بالطريقة دي هتطبق اللي اتعلمته، هتحاول تتخيل يعني.
So what would that look like? And then recognize also that if you have had experience in a manufacturing environment, if you've had experience auditing accounts payable, purchasing, inventory, accounts receivable, all of those audit and accounting cycles that I mentioned earlier in the webcast, then you'll have an advantage. But just recognize that the exam questions are more oriented to a for-profit public company than not. So another key tip, I think, is when you are taking the actual exam and analyzing the exam questions, think outside of your scope of work. Think very, very broadly. Recognize that the CIA exam is a global exam. So recognize that, internal audit functions are alive and well all over the world in different cultures, different government structures, all kinds of different environments. So it's very important to think very, very broadly and choose the answer to the question that is going to have the broadest applicability.
انا كنت لسه هقول لها ما قلبتيش السلايد ليه، لان بتتكلم بقى على التيست تيكينج تيبس ولسه السلايد على الستادي تيبس. فهنا بتقول لك لازم تبقى عارف السنتنس والكوينشن في الامتحان، تقراه كويس قبل ما before the details.
Some test taking tips now. Read the last sentence.
يعني الكلام اللي كانت بتقوله قبل كده ان هم بيعملوا حاجه جلوبالي يعني ايه؟ عالميه، دوليه، تنفع في اي مكان، في اي شركه، في اي دوله، في اي تمام. هنا دلوقتي تبدا بقى التيست تيكينج تيبس.
Sentence with the question mark before reading all of the details in the question. You may see a question that's 2 or 3 paragraphs long and
ما تقراش الاجابات، لازم تقرا السؤال الاول. اقرا السؤال الاول وافهمه علشان حاول تتوقع الإجابة، وبعد كده خش بقى شوف الاختيارات. تمام؟ دي مهمة أوي الحكاية دي.
Immediately you might experience a little bit of anxiety because you have to read all of this information. Well, go to the question first. Read the question. Now you know what is being asked. Anticipate the answer, and then go back and read all of the details preceding the question if it's necessary. Look for clues, look for distractors, look for qualifiers. Words like except for, or least likely, or all, or not. Again, anticipate your answer before you read the choices. Think very broadly. Outside of your work experience and your industry.
النصيحة التانية مهمة جدا جدا جدا، بتقولك الأسئلة اللي فيها اوتلاير او فيها حاجات، يعني ايه السؤال المنفي، خد بالك منه. لما يجي يقول لك ايه هي الحاجه اللي مش من اجراءات فلما اجي اقول لك نوت، يبقى خد بالك ان انت عكست فكرك خالص. اوعى تتلخبط انت لو ما خدتش بالك من السؤال المنفي، عكس الاجابات خالص. اكسبت مثلا يقول لك كله الا كذا، فانت نازل تشوف في الديتيلز في الاجابات عن حاجة وانت مش واخد بالك ان انت بتتكلم في عكسها. ركز جدا في الكلمة all ولا accept ولا not. طيب تالت تيبس بتقولها لك think of your answer before reading. قبل ما تخش زي ما احنا قلنا كده، افهم السؤال كويس، ولو في السؤال ده منفي ولا لأ، متحدد ولا لأ. ساعات بيبقى حاجات نفي غير كلمة not او no يعني. طيب فكر في الإجابة قبل ما تروح للاختيارات.
As you're analyzing the exam answers to a question, eliminate those that you know are obviously wrong. In this exam, all three parts, you'll very often see questions where you can immediately throw out two answers. You know that they are not the right answers. But then you'll be struggling with the remaining two answers. Your job is to choose the best answer. There will be times where there are two correct answers, but your job is to choose the best answer based on the standards and guidance and based on your good judgment.
دلوقتي بتكلمك كمان على ان انت تفكر جلوبالي او برودلي، يعني مش بفكر محدود، ان دايما الامتحانات دي بتبقى معمولة لأي مكان في العالم في أي حاجة. ف حاول تستخدم الاكسبيرينس بتاعتك وفهمك للصناعة بتاعتك في ان انت بتجاوب بالطريقة دي. كمان eliminate avoid distractors، يعني حاول تعمل elimination، يعني تحديد، يعني زي ما تقول كده ايه، هتشيل الايه الاجابات. طيب في يقول لك ممكن مثلا يبقى في اجابتين زي بعض، هتقول لك هتختار، ممكن مش اجابتين زي بعض، اجابتين صح، بي تنفع وسي تنفع، هختار انهي واحده فيهم؟ فهي بتقول لك بناء على خبرتك واللي اتعلمته من الستاندرز والحاجات دي كلها والجادجمنت بتاعك، حكمك انت الشخصي، تختار الافضل حتى لو الاثنين ينفعوا. تمام؟
Trust your first impressions, so don't overanalyze the questions. Choose an answer and move on. Don't get that analysis paralysis.
تقول لك حاول تصدق حدثك الشخصي الاولاني، اول انطباع من ان انت فاهم الموضوع كويس، فاهم المنهج كويس، وبتقولت لا هي خلاص سي، وبعدين لو رجعت بقى ايه، ضيعت وقت كتير، بتقول لك ايه avoid over analyzing، لا دي تنفع كمان، اصل دي لو دي ممكن تنفع بحيث ان مش عارف ايه، لا سي تنفع بحيث ان مش عارف ايه، هتلخبط نفسك. بتقول لك حاول تثق في انطباعك الاول يعني.
While you are studying and working through the CIA learning system quizzes, it's a very good time management approach to use about 1 minute per question as you're working the quizzes. That will discipline you on good time management skills, so that for 120-minute exam for parts 2 and parts 3, you have 2 hours, 120 minutes, you have 100 questions. If you have disciplined yourself around 1 minute per question, you will be about 1 hour and 40 minutes into your total exam time when you have finished your 100 questions. That gives you a 20-minute buffer of time at the end to go back and revisit any questions that you may have flagged that you want to circle back to.
دلوقتي بتقولك لو انت في المحاولة اللي فاتت دي انت مش متأكد، ف answer it anyway، جاوب اي حاجة. انت متلخبط ما بين سي ودي، خلاص اختار اي حاجة وبعدين اعمل فلاج، حط علم كده على السؤال علشان ريفيو ليتر، تراجعه تاني. طيب الله هراجعه ازاي اذا كان احنا بنقول مفيش وقت لل 125 سؤال، سواء يعني بارت 1، يعني لو بارت 2 و 3 100 سؤال. قالت لك اشتغل على ان مش اكتر من دقيقة. لو اشتغلت عملت تايم مانجمنت لان انت تجاوب السؤال في حوالي دقيقة، هيبقى عندك وقت كافي ترجع للاسئلة اللي محيراك، اللي هي الصعبة، اللي هي عامل لها فلاج بحيث انها تراجعها تاني. يبقى عندك وقت ترجع للاسئلة اللي انت شاكك فيها يعني.
So budget your time, develop your time management discipline, and don't rush. Obviously be well rested, eat a good meal, you know, make yourself as physically comfortable as you can possibly be during the exam.
تقول لك ان انت لازم تعمل بادجت للامتحان وما تضيعش وقتك. تاني حاجة ان انت لازم تبقى comfortable، واكل كويس، مرتاح كويس قبل الامتحان. وخلصت كده التيكينج ستادي تيبس، هتخش بقى في ايه تاني، يعني الاشتراك في البتاع دوت، يعني في الشهادة والممبرشيب والحاجات دي.
Exam. And that's about all I have as far as the test taking tips and study tips. So I'm going to turn it back over to Kelly. Kelly will share with you how you can obtain the IIA's CIA learning system So thank you for your time today, and we'll chat later with questions and answers.
Great. Thank you so much, Vicki, for sharing those helpful exam preparation tips, and also to Matt for sharing the information earlier with us about the benefits of obtaining the CIA certification and the process for applying and registering. So we appreciate your valuable feedback. I'd like to share a special discount with the group today on how to purchase the learning system materials.
هي شكرت الست اسمها ايه مش عارف، اللي هي كانت البريزيدنت دي اللي اتكلمت، وعلى انها ادتنا التبس المفيده دي، وشكرت اللي قبليها اللي هو ماكنتاير ده اللي هو قال فوائد الشهاده وكده. ودلوقتي بتقول لك انا عايزه اوريكم ان في هنا ديسكاونت هيفيد الناس اللي حاضرين السيمينار ده.
For attending this call, we are able to offer you a 20% discount. That will apply if you choose to purchase an individual part. So let's say you maybe just need to finish up part 3, or you are just starting your exam process and only wish to start with part 1. We can offer it that way. Otherwise, if you wish to purchase it as a full kit, which is all 3 parts, it's a little bit less expensive. So we've shown the prices here, the discounted prices. You can see the 20% off. And to receive that discount, you'll want to order online at learncia.com, and you'll enter the code CIA1119. So if you want to enter that at checkout, and it will take the 20% off at that time. This offer is going to be valid until December 15th. So you'll have from now until then to take advantage of the 20% discount. In addition, if you have a friend or a colleague that you'd like to purchase together, join your purchases together, my colleague Mike Downs is able to provide additional discounts for 2 or more purchases. So I've listed his information here. You can contact him at mike.downs@bi.org, and we will also have a copy of these slides posted after the webinar, so you can get this information later if you need it.
دلوقتي بتتكلم على خصم 20% على الموقع بتاعهم اللي هو الليرن بقى، مش موقع الالتحاق بالشهادة، لا اللي هو النظام التعليمي، او يعني زي ما قلت لك كده السيستم، سواء الكتب والسوفت وير على الموقع يعني. هيبقى متاح لغاية 15 ديسمبر، وده الكود اللي تكتبه علشان يخصم لك 20%. لو انت معاك ناس تانية مش عارف ايه بتقول لك هيبقى فيه ديسكاونت تاني، خصم بقى للكميات يعني. طيب خلينا نكمل.
In addition, there are 2 important resource links that we'd like to share. As Matt mentioned earlier, if you go to the.org/CIA, that's where you'll be able to find that certification candidate handbook that he mentioned earlier, and also where you'll be able to find the system where you apply and register for the exam. In addition, there's also some exam FAQ information, eligibility information, anything you need to know about the exam itself is at that resource.
طب هي تقول لك
The
على اللينك بتاع
other
الهاند
link
اوت
for
احنا
you is
نزلناه خلاص، وده الليرنينج سيستم.
learncia.com, and that is where you'll find a demo of the learning system, some free practice questions, a list of all of our instructor-led courses around the globe, and also some study tips, and that's also where you can purchase the learning system at that discounted price. Okay, now it's time to do our drawing. One person on the call today is going to win a free CIA online seminar offered by iGlobal, and you are able to choose which one of these options you'd like, part 1, 2, or 3. The dates are listed there. So, Miguel, would you please do our random drawing and announce the winner, please?
Hi, Kelly. Yes. So today the lucky winner is David Brumfield. David, we will be reaching out to you by email with details, so be on the lookout for that email within the next few days. Thank you.
Great, congratulations.
كسب
Okay, so we have a little bit of time here for a couple quick questions before we wrap up our webinar. So Miguel, why don't we take a look at some of those questions submitted and get through what we can. Before you start, I'll just make a quick announcement that if we do not get to your question, we will be posting the answers to all questions at this website at learncia.com/webinar webinar-archive, and also you can download a recording of the webinar and a copy of all the slides if you wish. That will be posted within a couple of days, so you can find the information there. So Miguel?
بتقول لك يعني ان انت ممكن تدخل على الموقع ده عشان تقدر
Okay, so our first
تسمع
question is from Matt. I've been an internal auditor for 15 years, but I don't have a degree. Can I still pursue CIA certification?
Certainly. There definitely is an alternative pathway for individuals without a college degree. So you'll want to visit the IAA website for more information on that, but just know that there's definitely a way for people who have the experience but don't have the degree.
أسئلة متكررة بقى. يعني واحد بيقول عنده خبرة 15 سنة وما عندوش شهادة، فهل هيقدر ان هو يدخل الامتحان التحق بالشهادة؟
I purchased the CIA learning system materials last year. Will they be valid to use if I take exams in 2019, and do I need to repurchase? Kelly?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it depends on when you purchased last year. If you purchased prior to August of 2018 and your books say version 5.0 on the bottom, you will need new materials. If you purchased after August, September timeframe, we had already released version 6, so you may have the new materials for the new 2019 exam syllabus. So I'd recommend looking at the bottom of your books and determining which version you have. If you previously purchased version 5 and still have an active online software license that has not yet expired, you are able to qualify for a free online upgrade to the new version 6 online software. And to do that, you can log into your software and go to the online resource center, and there's instructions there on how to upgrade to version 6.
طبعا احنا الحمد لله معانا الماتيريال الجديدة.
Okay, thank you. And our next question goes to Vicky. Can I take the online quizzes multiple times? How many times do you recommend taking each quiz, and what score should I be getting to feel prepared?
Okay, good question. So the online quizzes, yes. In the IAA CIA learning system, you can take those online quizzes as many times as you want. And hopefully you will see your score increasing. There is a a record. You can see, you can download reports from the learning system so that you can see how your understanding is tracking and how it's trending. If you're doing better and better, or maybe you're staying flat. How many times do we recommend taking each quiz? It depends on your scores. I think it's very important to take that
على حل المسائل اللي عندهم سواء على الموقع او اي مسائل في يعني بالنسبه قبل الامتحان. كل ما تحل اكتر وكل ما السكور بتاعك يزيد، وهل هتبقى محتاج تكررها ولا لا حسب السكور وحسب فهمك. يعني
I think that if you're scoring 90 or 95%, you probably don't need to repeat quizzes. Focus on those areas where you're struggling and where your scores are lower. Generally, we recommend that you're scoring 90 to 95% on the quizzes before you sit for your exam. Now, having said that, if you've scheduled your exam and you have been studying and you're scoring 80 or 85%, don't procrastinate. Don't wait. I had a gentleman in my class in the spring in San Jose. We had a lot of tech people in the class. And he emailed me and said, I'm supposed to take my part 2 tomorrow, but I'm not prepared. Don't feel prepared. I'm scoring about 80%. And I said, you got to show up. You have to take your exam. Don't lose the opportunity to take your test.
لك انت لما تحل وتوصل لدرجة عالية في السكورينج بتاعه ويخش الامتحان على طول عشان ما تنساش.
If you have your exam scheduled, show up for your exam. In this case, this gentleman did pass his part 2 exam, and of course he was really grateful that he showed up. He made the right decision.
Thank you, Vicki. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for questions today. A playback of this webinar along with other resources should be available at www.learncia.com within the next few business days. We'd like to thank our presenters for their time and valuable information they provided today, as well as our audience for taking the time out of their day to attend. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
كده يعتبر خلص السيمينار بتاعهم. هو بيقول لك ان احنا مش هنقدر ناخد كويشنز تاني، انما هي موجودة على الموقع بتاعهم. نقدر مثلا ندخل على طيب يعتبر كده خلص. ان شاء الله نبقى نقدر ان احنا مش عارف هنقدر نشير الفيديو، ممكن نبعته للزملاء اللي محتاجين ان شاء الله، بحيث يعني هو وضح لنا شوية حاجات ظريفة. يا رب يكون في إفادة. شكرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.